In a small, mist-covered village tucked between two jagged mountain ranges, there lived a young woman named Ilara. The villagers always whispered about her because she had a peculiar gift. She could see shadows of the future. Not all of it, just glimpses, faint silhouettes of what might come, flickering like candlelight in her mind. Some feared her, some revered her, but Ilara lived quietly, tending her herb garden and helping the sick with her knowledge of natural remedies. One chilly autumn evening, as the amber sun dipped behind the mountains, Ilara noticed a shadow in her mind unlike any she had seen before. It was not a fleeting image of someone falling ill or a small fire in the market. It was a looming darkness over the entire village. She saw smoke, shattered homes, and people running as a massive storm seemed to swallow the land. Heart racing, she tried to shake it off as an overactive imagination, but the heaviness in the air told her otherwise. Determined to prepare the villagers, she ran through the cobblestone streets, her cloak flapping behind her like a dark flag. "Everyone, listen!" she called, but many shook their heads, dismissing her warnings. "Storms come and go!" they shouted, unwilling to believe that some unseen force could threaten them. Only a few, like the village blacksmith Garrick and the innkeeper Mara, followed her back to her home to discuss what she had seen. Ilara explained everything she could, the shadows, the smoke, the destruction. Garrick frowned. "We need proof before we abandon our homes," he said stubbornly, though worry etched his face. Mara, always intuitive, whispered, "What if she is right? Do we risk nothing and lose everything?" The trio decided to prepare quietly, gathering food, reinforcing doors, and making safe spaces in the center of the village. Days passed, and the sky darkened as though the sun itself feared what was coming. Travelers who passed through the village spoke of storms forming unnaturally far to the east, strange lightning that danced in colors no one had seen before, and winds that carried whispers instead of rain. Panic began to spread, and slowly the villagers started to believe Ilara's visions. On the seventh night, the storm arrived. It was unlike anything anyone had ever experienced. Trees bent like reeds in the wind, rivers rose and swallowed bridges, and the mountains themselves seemed to groan under the force of the tempest. Amid the chaos, Ilara led a small group through the village to the stone sanctuary at its center, a place said to hold ancient protective runes. Inside the sanctuary, Ilara discovered a hidden passage that led deep underground. There she found a glowing crystal pulsing like a heartbeat. She instinctively knew it was the source of her visions. The crystal was not just a mirror of the future, it was a test. If she could harness its energy, she could protect the village. But it came with a price. Every vision she altered, every intervention, took a piece of her memory. Soon she would forget who she was, even the people she loved most. Faced with the impossible choice, Ilara hesitated. The storm roared louder, rattling the sanctuary walls. She closed her eyes, reaching out to the crystal, feeling its warmth seep into her bones. Memories of her childhood, of laughter, of her parents' stories began to fade like morning mist. Pain shot through her, but she gritted her teeth, focusing on the vision of the storm, how to divert it. She extended her hands, chanting an old language that had come to her in dreams. The crystal pulsed brighter, a blinding light filling the cavern. When she opened her eyes, the storm had vanished. The sky was calm, the village untouched, though some trees and houses bore minor scars of the tempest's fury. She staggered outside, her memory fragmented. She knew she had saved everyone, but she could no longer remember the faces of those she had grown up with, not even her closest friends. Garrick and Mara ran to her side, relief flooding their eyes. "You did it, Elara," Mara whispered. "You saved us all." Elara nodded, though a strange emptiness gnawed at her heart. Over time, the village rebuilt, always grateful for the mysterious girl who had seen the storm and stopped it. Elara, however, wandered through the village like a shadow of herself, learning to live with her fragmented memories. But every night, when the wind whispered through the mountains, she felt a pull toward the hidden crystal, as if it still called to her, reminding her that some gifts, no matter how painful, were worth every sacrifice. Years later, a child in the village, with eyes that gleamed like the crystal's light, approached Elara. "I think I can see the shadows too," the child said, trembling with excitement and fear. And in that moment, a spark of recognition lit in Elara's heart. Though she couldn't remember everything, she knew that the gift and the responsibility would continue, carried forward into a new generation. And so the village thrived under the watchful eyes of those who could see beyond the present, bound together by courage, sacrifice, and the eternal dance between shadow and light.